What would happen if you stopped living by the rules you were taught and started living by the truth of who you really are? This week on the School of Midlife podcast, I'm joined by Jessica Frew, author, speaker, and bold decision coach, whose brand new book, Shove Your Shoulds, hits shelves today. Shove Your Shoulds is all about helping women break free from guilt, perfectionism, and all the expectations that we've been conditioned to carry. Jessica's story is unlike anything you've ever heard before. As you'll hear, she is no stranger to living outside the lines, from navigating a mixed orientation marriage to divorce, remarriage, and co-parenting with her ex-husband. Her life doesn't follow a traditional script, and that's exactly the point. She's made peace with doing things her way. And now she helps ambitious women to do the same, unlearn all of the conditioning that they were raised with, make bold, imperfect decisions, and stop living by everyone else's rules. In Shove Your Shoulds, Jessica combines personal stories with a powerful, practical framework that helps women finally start trusting their own intuition without guilt, without fear, and without constantly second-guessing themselves. How refreshing would that be? A relationship crossroads, a professional pivot, or a deeper identity shift in midlife. This conversation will remind you, you don't need permission to change your life. This conversation is honest and hopeful and packed with insight about what it really means to live in full alignment with who you were created to be. It's full of truth bombs, an occasional swear word, real talk, and a beautiful reminder that you don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be willing to do what's best for you. Please enjoy this conversation with Jessica Frew.
Welcome to the School of Midlife podcast. I'm your host, Laurie Reynoldson. This is the podcast for the midlife woman who's starting to ask herself big life questions like, what do I want? Is it too late for me? And what's my legacy beyond my family and my work? Each week, we're answering these questions and more. At the School of Midlife, we're learning all of the life lessons they didn't teach us in school. And we're figuring out, finally, what it is we want to be when we grow up. Let's make midlife your best life.
Jessica, I am thrilled to have you here today. Welcome to the School of Midlife podcast. Will you please do me a favor and just introduce yourself and tell the listeners what it is you do?
Yeah. My name is Jessica Frew. Obviously, I am a wife, ex-wife, mom, stepmom, and I am a bold action taker. I help women make decisions in their life as they are going through transition, or maybe they're like, I just don't feel that I'm in alignment with my decision-making power or what it is I want. And I help them work through that process to be deeply connected to themselves so they can take bold, imperfect action as well.
Amazing. Well, there's a lot to unpack there, so let's get into it. What does bold action mean to you?
Being bold, I think when we hear that word, we sometimes think, oh, I need to be loud and flashy, and that's just not me. Like, I don't align with that. And people see me, I sometimes have my head shaved. I've got hair that sticks up. I wear loud clothes. Like, that is very much me, maybe the typical version of what you see. But what it really means is that you are taking action that feels good for you, which often feels kind of bold and sometimes uncomfortable and not great. And so we want you to learn how to make that feel more comfortable. How do I take action that is alignment for me, that I feel called to? My dad growing up always said, you got to be, Jessica, you got to be. And that meant you need to be bold. And it was in big decisions or small decisions. It told me that he supported me in doing what was best for me. And that was always the messaging that he gave me, was you need to be and do what's best for you. And I just love that. And so now I help women do that same thing, where we don't have to be like anybody else. It's getting you in alignment with who you are and what feels really good to you.
I love all of that. I am curious that your dad would tell you to be, because my understanding is you grew up in a pretty conservative religious family.
Yes.
And one that is not necessarily known for encouraging women to speak out and use their big indoor voices and be bold. So Was there any ever, I don't know if friction is what I'm looking for,
it's a good
but
word.
how did that play out when in your life growing up?
For sure. Yes, I was raised in the Mormon Church, LDS, Church of Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints, however you want to identify that religion. Very conservative, high demand religion. And there was friction for me, and especially at a young age, well, I would say like junior high, high school, I didn't look like I was supposed to look. Like I was very straight edge in all of the other things because it worked for me. I was following those rules because it felt good and I felt empowered and healthy in doing and making those decisions. It just felt good. But I didn't look the part. I didn't have necessarily this hair, but I had short hair, and my aunt was in cosmetology school. So we were constantly messing with it and doing things. I always wore clothes that were just different. Like it wasn't trending clothes. It was just whatever I wanted to wear. And I didn't fit the Mormon mold. In fact, my first husband was like, Jessica, you need to like get the little Mormon dress that has the flowers on it and the buttons down the front. And I'm like, Steve, you married me because I don't fit that mold. So don't try and put me in that. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're right. So that was something I had to kind of wrestle with of why do I feel this way? Is it rebellion? Am I trying to be wrong? Because I wanted to be good. I wanted that. Like that was important to me. And I realized, no, this is just who I was created to be. And recognizing that at that age when we are so told who we need to be, who we should be, and all of those things and what we should look like and how we should dress, it felt really important to me to own that, to be who I was. And so there was friction there. And there's obviously been friction throughout my life as life has definitely not gone as planned. I think even outside of religion, we have this path we kind of see that we're supposed to follow. We go to school, we graduate high school, we go to college, we graduate college, we get married, we have the kids, and life is going to be great. Like things are going to work out. And that was very much not my path and what happened. And so I think that there has been friction in understanding what is best for me, both inside religion and outside of religion. Like, how do I make my life work for me now when things are happening that are outside of my control?
And what about with your dad? I mean, did he?
No.
No, he was always
There was
supportive.
no
Always.
friction.
Oh, love that.
I feel like my parents have probably had moments where they felt that friction of like, oh my gosh, I know they have. But I don't remember a time ever questioning that they were behind me, that they had my back, that they were like, okay, I no hesitation was there and just being like, all right, Jess, and still is sometimes. I mean, they live like half a mile from me. And I know there's moments where they're just like, what are you doing? But they also show up and show me support. And it's a true gift to be able to have that I do not take for granted or take lightly, for sure.
The very best gift you can give your children, right?
100%.
I mean, and how beautiful for them to model that. So that gives you a touch point in raising your own children.
Yes.
Fantastic. Your daughter, right?
Yes.
Just one.
Yep.
Yeah. How, when you're working with your clients, do you set them up to maybe I don't know, live into that bold action?
Yeah. I mean, the very first part of it, for a long time, I facilitated support groups. And it wasn't for addicts. It was for friends and family of different types of addicts. And in that process, these people were coming and they wanted to be told how to change the other person, how to, how do I change this person? And really, it came back to us and how do we support ourselves? And we have to have that first step of acknowledgement. And so that is where we start with my clients as well, is we have to acknowledge that there is something that feels off. There is something that isn't working for me. The conditioning that I have received and been living into isn't working, and I want something different. And I always like, in my decision-making process that we go through, the first step is be gentle. And we are going to do this in a way that feels gentle and loving instead of that is like we're going to release the guilt and the shame. Like we're not going to carry that forward in the decision-making process. And I think so often we think that's the way forward. I need to beat myself up. I need to criticize myself so that I can do better. I can be better. I need to show myself constantly where I'm failing. And so we start there where it's like, no, you've been doing this your whole life and it's not serving you. You're living into these shoulds. You're living into what the expectations are, and it's not working for you. So we got to acknowledge that. And I do a should challenge with a lot of my clients when we're in this be gentle phase. That is, we identify one should a day that we're putting on ourselves. And I pick the word should because it's an easy way to identify where we are judging ourselves. Usually when we say should, it means we're putting some sort of judgment on ourselves. That's why my book is called Shove Your Shoulds. And it's actually about decision making and trusting our intuition and getting to know ourselves. But we have to start there. We have to start with this idea of recognizing where we are placing that judgment. I should wear this. I should do my hair this way. I should do this workout. I should eat this food. I should, do this as a mom, do this as a partner. I should do this in my business. Like all of these things that we've internalized are the correct way to do things. Then even I should be grateful. I should feel this way. This should be enough. We have to start recognizing those. So one thing a day that you say, I'm saying the word should. You don't have to do anything with it. We are simply recognizing and acknowledging it's there.
So powerful. I understand exactly how powerful that would be. And just even the recognition of decades of conditioning. I want to talk about your book, but I want to just explore this just a little bit further before we pivot over and talk about the book. Most of your clients, how old are they? Where are they in life? Is it midlife? Are they coming to you younger than that? Or are they kids are grown, they're out of the house? How old are most of the women that you work with?
It's usually 35 on up. Now, my most committed clients and, usually highest paying are the women who are 45 and up because they are done living in this. They have really hit the point where they're like, I'm out. I am done. I don't want to live in this conditioning anymore. And at that point, like you're saying, there's a lot of conditioning we are unpacking here and we're unraveling. And so I just keep wishing that we can get like lower and lower with that age of who we're supporting and women understanding this. And I think on some level we are, just because people are seeing the work we're doing at 45, 50, 60, whatever, and so then they're like, okay, I want to start doing this now when I'm in my 20s and 30s. And then the younger teenagers are seeing like, oh, I get to be myself. I don't need to do X, Y, and Z to fit in. I get to be myself. And then that draws in the people I want in my life. So it's beautiful to do this work at any age, and I love it. But yeah, I think that as we are doing this right now in our midlife, having these midlife awakenings and going through the midlife school and all these things, that we get to then impact younger generations. And ideally we keep getting younger and younger where we're releasing this conditioning.
I 100% agree. I will tell you that most of the women that I work with, 40s, 50s, 60s, but I feel like it's this really interesting generational shift that's going on, which is, I'm a Gen Xer. We were raised, we could do it all. We almost like took that as a competition, like game on, here we go. Yes. We're going to do all of it.
Still do sometimes.
Yes. And I feel like the women who are coming up behind us a bit, they aren't as resigned to head down, hard work. I have to stay the course because that's the path that I was on. I'm going to make this work at all costs, kind of white knuckling it. And the younger women are realizing, you know what, this job or this relationship isn't serving me. So I'm going to do something else.
Out. Yeah.
Are you finding that at all?
Yes. And what a gift that not only are we here doing this work at our age, but also being able to watch these women do that. And to this, I mean, we've been fed such a lie that we can do it all. It's such bull crap. And yet there is still deep conditioning in them. Like, yeah, I can get everything done today. I can do the laundry. I can clean the house. I can be this perfect partner. I call it perfect partner syndrome. I can be the best mom and also build this business or have a career or all these things. And I'm like, yes, you can do all of those things, but maybe we don't have to do them at the standard we've been conditioned to believe they have to be done at. We don't have to be the Pinterest perfect mom and running a business that's making millions of dollars and like all of these things. But instead, let's understand how we focus on the gifts we're truly given to amplify those, because then we bring everybody up with us. And we're not teaching our kids that they need to do it all, that they need to get themselves to burnout, that they need to keep going until they're miserable and then rethink everything. I'm like, no, let's like not get to that point anymore.
I do think that there is something about, because we are doing this work ourselves, it's an interesting legacy that we are modeling for our children. You know, our girls see that it's okay for mom to have different dreams and be able to pursue those. It's a great model for our sons to see that a woman's role isn't just to support her husband and take care of her children, that, you know, it's the rising tide lifts all boats, right? It's really a beautiful way for us to move through life and model what we're living and teaching lessons to the children that we are raising up.
Yeah. Yeah. My daughter's almost 16. My stepdaughter is 17, and they both live with us full time, which is so great. I love them so much. They are amazing. But my daughter, the other day, we were talking about something, one of her friends, and her friend is an only child. And Penny's kind of like, I'm like, you're kind of half an only child because she's my only biological child. It's an interesting dynamic. But she's like, her mom is so hyper focused on her that like, what is going to happen when she moves out on both ends of this? Like, how are they going to function without each other? And I thought it was so interesting that she's already seen that and processing that like, yes, it's important. Like, being a mom is the most important work I do. Like, I love it. It's so invigorating. It's also really hard, and it's beautiful and amazing. And also, it's not everything about me. And I love that she's seen that she sees that like, oh, it's okay for my mom to think about herself, to take care of herself, to say, hey, you guys got to take care of this because I don't feel good. Or, hey, I have a podcast interview. I can't get you there. You need to go take care of X, Y, and Z. And so it's so fun to see that. Like, and it's true. Like, this is the messaging now that these younger generation gets to see is, I'm not trying to do it all, and I'm not trying to do it all perfectly. I'm just doing the things I feel called to with bold, imperfect action. I mess a lot of things up, and that's okay. But we learn and we grow, and like sharing those experiences with them too, of like, this is not a perfect process.
It's so interesting how we were almost raised with this idea that there's success and failure and nothing in between.
No.
And to be perfect, or to perfect something, actually means that you've done something before and you're actually making it better. But we're so worried about being perfect right out of the gate. How will I be judged if I'm not perfect? What will they say about me if I don't do this right? And it is really kind of, it's done a bit of a disservice for us. And I think where the work that you're doing is so impactful, because it's getting women out of that, I have to be perfect, I'm either succeeding or failing, and tying it back to, well, no, all I need to do is take one bold action. And if this is not how you teach it, then let me know. But my sense is you take one bold action and then you reassess, like, how
100%.
Right? Maybe you could walk us through that a little bit.
Yeah. To your point here of like, we are never going to do anything perfectly. There is nothing in our lives that is going to be perfect. And that's beautiful. That's amazing. Like, there's nothing that we look at that's perfect and we think that is so beautiful. Like, it's just not that way. In fact, when we see something that's maybe close to perfect, it's intimidating. It's almost off-putting, because It's not reality for us. It's not attainable. It doesn't feel relatable. And so in that, I always say, we are going to take bold, imperfect action. And 100%, if you don't take the action, you have nothing to understand where to go next. So if you're just taking in all the information, if you're overthinking, if you're analyzing to death and thinking that that is going to get you the confidence to act, I call bullshit, because it's not going to get you anywhere. It's going to keep you stuck in your head and you're going to feel like a failure because you have not acted. Confidence comes when we make the decision and we act on it. That is when we have the information we need on the other side to continue forward. I mean, if my life has taught me anything, it is that. Like, I have moved forward in so many interesting situations. My ex-husband's gay. He had an affair with a man. We are still best friends to this day. We've been divorced for 14 years. Like, all of these things that have happened in my life, and yet I've been able to create something that feels really good to me and that is full of love and support for my ex, for my daughter, for my current husband, for his kids, and all these things. And it's not what it should look like. And it was far from perfect. And yet it is the most beautiful thing in my life. But if I hadn't taken my next best step, if I hadn't moved forward, I never would have gotten here. If I never would have said, hey, let's kind of figure out what we want divorce to look like for us. Like, let's make a plan about this. And then acted on that plan of we're going to try to stay friends somehow, we wouldn't be here. We would be stuck in that bitterness and anger and resentment that so many of us get hung up on in life because we're not taking aligned action. We're not taking any action, but we're pissed and angry because there's something in us that doesn't feel good, but we won't acknowledge that we have the power to do something with that.
And it's so different than most divorced couples that we see, right?
Yes.
Especially that are still trying to raise children. I mean, it feels like that there are camps on, I'm on her side, I'm on his side, never the two shall meet. It's almost like somebody goes through a divorce and then the friends all split up.
Yep.
But what you have created, what you have taken the time to step back and say, how do we make this work for us? And not even pay any attention to what anybody else outside of us is saying, but what's going to work for us? That is incredible. I mean, was that something that the two of you came to together, or was that you sort of taking bold action in one direction, saying we should really figure this out? Was there,
Yeah.
Were you worried about what he would say in return?
I think at that point, I'm sure I was worried. There's always some worry there of what are they going to say? What are people going to think? Whatever. And at some point you just got to go, I just don't give a crap. This is the thing that I want. This is the thing that I know feels in alignment, and I'm going to throw logic out the door and I'm going to move forward and see what happens. And so in the divorce process, it was like, okay, we're going to feel all these big feelings because there was a lot going on. For him coming out, he was scared to death to come out. He was struggling with that. I'm dealing with his betrayal and all of that. And the fact I'm getting divorced and moving across the country with a 2-year-old, just so many things. And we had to kind of separate out our feelings. We held space for each other, but also there were times I'm like, I can't carry you right now. You got to go find somebody else to be carried by or carry yourself because I'm not in a good space either. So we had lots of those conversations. But really, I came to Steve and I was like, listen, I do not want our daughter to ever question which parent can be in the room at anything that's important to her. I don't want her to have to worry about us being in the same room. And I used to lay out things like when she graduates, when she has kids, when she gets married. And now I'm just don't even say that because I'm trying to release some of that conditioning for her of what her life should look like.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't say some of those things occasionally, but if you choose this, then I am there type thing.
Yes.
But that's ultimately what we came to, is this is the thing that is the most important to us, is this little girl. She was 2 at the time. And how do we create a relationship within us that she never has to question that? And we've based our decisions kind of off of that idea of we are going to create this. This is the vision for us. We're hopefully welcoming in partners that are okay with us being friends. And we hadn't seen anything like that before. You just didn't hear that version of divorce. It was there, but you didn't hear it because, again, people want to take sides. People want to be angry. People want to do like all these things when divorce happens because they want to know they're safe from divorce. They want to know that their relationship is safe. They want to know that they're doing the right things to not get there, which, I mean, a lot of people had peace of mind knowing Steve was gay. Like, oh, he's gay. I'm like, that's not like a one and done, but that's a whole nother story. It still creates a lot of issues.
It's so ridiculous when people, in their judgy way, even though they don't feel like they're being judgy, but how they just judgment is all about projection, safe. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Well, gosh, if it can happen to her, it could probably happen to me. Oh, but he's gay, so that's not going to happen.
My husband's not gay. Oh, man. I hope your husband's not gay because it's a ride. But anyway, so it was just a lot of having those conversations and being able to make mistakes in that. And kudos to Steve and he, I know, would give kudos to me for the times we have made mistakes and had to come to the other one and be like, hey, this happened, or I'm sorry, I overreacted and said those things. Like, we're real, like life happens, mistakes were made, but being able to see, this was coming from his hurt and pain, and this was coming from my hurt and pain. And also this is coming from just being human, like mistakes we've made with our daughter, and giving each other grace instead of instantly using that to pull the other person down or to victimize them or to show that they are a horrible parent or whatever. Instead, we were like, okay, I see this. I'm giving you grace now because I know I'm going to need it next week probably. So there was a lot of that. There were a lot of big conversations. And my current husband has stepped into that as well, of being open to having these conversations and being open to saying, hey, this situation wasn't working for me, but this is okay. And all of us hearing that and being like, yeah, we can see why you would feel uncomfortable with that. And so it's a lot, but hard conversations, bold, hard conversations really change the game for us.
I want to move to the book now because I feel, and maybe I'm skipping some steps. So if I am, let's go back and talk about it. But it seems like you grew up in a very religious community. You had a marriage that ended and you recreated the vision of what a post-divorce relationship, a post-divorce family looks like.
Yeah.
And so everything that you should do or should have done, it's like you threw it out the window. And now you've created this book, Shove Your Shoulds. I want you to tell us about, where did that come from? Was it just, look, I've been modeling this, I've been living this, I feel like women need to hear this? Was it come out of your coaching? Talk to us about how Shove Your Shoulds came to be.
Yeah, it's definitely a combination of those two things, of taking this life that I have lived and that people are always just like listening to our story and they're like, what happened next? Which we hosted a podcast for 5 years, my husband, my ex-husband, and myself, sharing all of our stories. So if you're like, I need to understand this more, you can go listen to that from both sides.
What was that called?
Things. Husband-in-law. That's what my husband and ex-husband call each other, is husband-in-law.
Yeah.
But my life didn't go as planned. And so I realized that there's so much power in just releasing that conditioning. And the more we embrace that, the more love we get to have in our lives. And for me, love and boldness are my top two values. They have been I can see it as a thing my whole life. And so those are the two things that I wanted to fill the world with more of. I wanted to empower more women to say, hey, this isn't working for me, and to find their voice and how to do that in a way that feels good instead of just feels like one more thing that we have to do, that we have to be perfect at, that we should be navigating. Like, how do we teach people to do this with grace and ease and gentleness and releasing so many things along the way so that we have space to welcome it in? And it's my coaching framework, basically, of how I take women through decision making and owning that decision making, because as coaches, we're helping people make decisions. Like that is ultimately what we do. And so it's taking them through that. And I just wanted a way to help and support and uplift as many women as possible. And so that's kind of where it's like, all right, this is it. Let's put this out into the world and see what happens.
It's so interesting that you mentioned that the job of a coach is to help people with decision making. I was literally at dinner last night and a friend asked me, so what would you tell somebody to do in this situation? And I was like, whoa, 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 that's not what coaches do. Coaches
No.
create a framework and ask the right questions to get you to move into
Yes.
action in a way that feels aligned. But it's not about giving answers. And I think that there is a bit of a misconception about the coaching community, which is, oh, if I get this coach, she'll answer all of my problems.
Yeah.
Just like if I go to therapy, she's going to unpack all of this information for me and all of a sudden it's going to make sense, but it doesn't. So it's lovely that you have published this book. In fact, depending on when this episode drops, it's either coming out today or tomorrow. So fantastic there. But it's great that you have bottled up your decision-making framework and it's in this book. So is Shove Your Shoulds a bit of a how-to guide? Is it something that I could pick up and move myself through? Is there coaching that goes along with it? How do you see that working?
Yeah, so there is a lot you can do on your own. There's so much that when we are fed the questions we need to ask ourselves and the mindsets we need to kind of like tap into and think about, it's in the book. There's also a companion workbook you can pick up. And there is, I call it the Decision Lab. You can check into the Decision Lab and do 6 weeks of coaching. It's going to be live one last time right after the book releases. But then from there, it is going to be automated for you. There will be a group that you can drop in when you need support. But I want to make this attainable. And for a lot of women financially, it's not something like high ticket coaching isn't something like high touch coaching or one-to-one isn't something you can afford. Like I sometimes I'm like, oh, it's not the right season for that, even when I want it. And so this gives people a way to come back to over and over again, to be able to work themselves through some things. I always like it when you're in a group. I always love it when you have accountability with other people. People see blind spots you can't see. So ideally, this is a jumping off point to get you started in this process, to get that acknowledgement that like, oh, the recognition, the whatever, that something doesn't feel right. Like, and I know what it is. I just haven't wanted to admit that to myself because now I have to take action, or now I know, there's all these scary fears that come along with that. And we address some of those things. So yeah, it's a jumping off point. It will definitely get you started in understanding yourself and what it is you want and how to start making decisions on that.
What about timing? If a listener is thinking, well, I don't feel like I'm at a crossroads right now where I have a big decision coming up. Should I wait to pick up the book until I'm in it? Or is it something that is good for anyone to start reading now?
I think about this as like training for a race, or you just did a massive race.
I did, yes.
Like you are prepping your decision-making muscles to be able to make those big decisions with peace and safety and clarity as you navigate them. That is the one thing I had people coming up to me, like when I was getting divorced, friends and family, and just also random people that I had talked to during that time. They're like, how are you so at peace? Like, how are you so calm? I had big emotions. I always want to make sure people understand that. But there was a peace and clarity and safety that I knew, that I felt deeply within me, that allowed me to navigate that in ways that weren't normal. Like I always hate to say that, but it wasn't. The way I was able to do that wasn't really normal because I was so in tune with who I was. So even if you're not navigating a big transition or decision right now, fine tune that, build the muscle so that when you hit that point, because it's going to come for all of us, we are going to have big decisions that have to be made. no matter where we are at in life. And so when we fine tune that muscle, then when that decision comes, when that needs to be made or we need to take action, we're ready. We feel clear. We can hear what it is inside of us. We can move forward without the fear of failing or without the fear of doing it perfectly. But instead we can say, this feels best. I'm going to try this. If it works, great. If I need to pivot, I can pivot. I have the information now I need to make that other decision. So I always tell women, no matter where you're at, just pick it up, start learning about the decision-making process so that you can learn it now. And if you're in the big decision, we can build that muscle when you're in it. Like, that's what I help most women with, is when they're in it. But yeah, it'd be great if we started doing that beforehand, just like we're hoping younger generations will start, leaving these things, leaving that conditioning behind younger and younger. There's power in whatever season you're at of doing that.
I think you would agree with this idea as well, which is one of the reasons to start now. Like you talked about building that decision-making muscle. It is once you start with small decisions that seem relatively insignificant, like where do you want to go for dinner tonight? And a lot of women will always give their decision-making power away. But if you take that back and just even practice in the small decision-making, that when it comes time to like, things are going to shit real fast and I've got to make some big decisions now, at least those muscles have been working. You've been in practice. You've been building them.
You have built that confidence in trusting yourself. Your body and soul feel safe to trust yourself. And so they're like, okay, I've been doing this. I can do it. And it really does come down to those little decisions. You are 100% right. Like, what do I want to eat? What do I want to wear? What do I want to do with my hair? They seem little and they're not. And here's one more point that I want to say. Women will tell me all the time, I'm such a good decision maker. Like, I make decisions so fast, which is great. There are people out there who are good. And also I want to challenge them, be like, are you good at making those decisions for you? Or are you really good at knowing what other people expect of you? And so you can bust them out quickly because you know what's expected. You know what you should do. You know what they're expecting you to do. And so you live into that. And you can do it quickly. I could do that all day. I know what people expect of me. And also, I know what I expect of me. And I know what I want and deserve. And so we want to make sure we're clear on where we're coming from in that.
I think too, if I'm hearing you correctly, that decision making is, we'll call it a muscle, but part of the decision making that needs to really be developed is intuition and trusting our gut, because we have been so conditioned to give away that power to question what it is we really think, what is it we really want. Someone else knows better than we do. And that seems to me to be a very vital part of the decision-making framework.
Yeah. And that's what this ultimately takes you back to. I mean, that is what I teach, is how to be in tune with your gut. So, like, this is what it's telling me. Release that logic, release that judgment of it, take action.
I cannot wait to read the book because it's not out yet, so I haven't had a chance to read it, but everything you are talking about completely resonates with me. It's certainly topics that I discuss inside my coaching as well. I love other frameworks. I love to always understand how other people are doing it. So I cannot wait to get my hands on the book, which, like I said, dropping today or tomorrow, depending on whenever this episode airs. Anything else you want to share with us about the book launch or what you're working on, what you're excited about in this season of life?
I mean, this is the excitement right now, launching this book into the world, which no matter when, if it's released yet or not, you can go to shoveyourshoulds.com and pick that up. But also, like, being a mom of teenage girls just really has me lit up right now. Like, it is so fun and exciting. And so not balancing, I don't really believe there's balance, but like navigating these two things side by side and integrating them has just been such a joy. So that's the thing that's lighting me up right now.
I love that. I should have asked you, did you always think you were going to write a book? Is that something you wanted? No.
Even when I started like my entrepreneurial journey and doing all of these things, like a book was never in the forefront. I love speaking. I love talking to people, but I realized okay, I can't always be present talking and speaking. So let's navigate this, get it into a book so that we can help as many people as possible.
For those people like me who have always wanted to write a book and haven't yet, I'm working on it right now. What advice would you have for someone who wants to fulfill that dream that has been on their heart for a while?
Do it. Start taking the action. Start laying it out. Don't let the little things get in the way. And also, I would highly recommend support. I have had people helping me write this. I went and did the audio recording, and I did that at a studio, because I know that's not my forte. And just getting support. My parents have been amazing, in ways that they've supported me through this. And so I think be open to receiving that support, because it really is a lot of work. To launch a book, to write it is a lot of work, to edit it, have the editing done and all of those things. And then to actually launch it into the world with purpose and intention and pride, it's a lot.
I think that what you're talking about can be applied to anything. 100%. Women, high achieving women, have a really tough time asking for help and support. And what's interesting is we are always so quick to offer it. Anybody who needs our help, we are there. How can I show up? Do you need food? What can I do? Mm-hmm. And we are so hesitant to accept that for ourselves.
Yep.
Jessica, we always end the School of Midlife podcast episodes with the same 2 questions. So I'm curious, if you could go back, knowing everything you know now, with all of the learnings you have, with all of the experiences you've experienced in your life, what advice would you give to your 20-year-old self?
Oh man, I get emotional thinking about this, just because I'm so proud of what she did and how which is me. And I think sometimes we have a hard time saying that. I am so proud of how I've navigated things. I've made plenty of mistakes. I'm sure, hurt people along the way and whatever, but I'm also very proud of what I've accomplished and how I've been able to navigate life in a way that worked for me. And I'm proud of what I've built. So I just tell her, you've got this, keep trusting, you're good.
That is beautiful. And I'm sure she would look at where you are now and think, wow, we really did that. Look at us. Yeah. That's great. I'm sure that the pride would go both ways. And then finally, what do you like most about being a midlife woman?
I just love aging. I don't with naturally aging and embracing that. I love the shift in how I feel. I love the shifts in the opportunity that's here. The confidence, I think, when you're on this journey with intention, which your audience is just so powerful, that we get to be here doing this work. And it's not too late to impact other people and to keep moving forward. So, I like the confidence that comes and the peace of knowing, we've come this far. We're going to keep going.
I think that is the perfect spot to end on today. Thank you so much for being here today, Jessica. I've really enjoyed this conversation. And for the listeners out there, there is a clickable link for you to pick up Shove Your Shoulds in the show notes. So hopefully we can support you in your book launch. And I hope it's just a massive success for you.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for listening to the School of Midlife podcast. It means so much to have you here each week. If you enjoyed this episode, could you do me the biggest favor and help us spread the word to other midlife women? There are a couple of easy ways for you to do that. First, and most importantly, if you're not already following the show, would you please subscribe? That helps you because you'll never miss an episode, and it helps us because you'll never miss an episode. Second, if you'd be so kind to leave us a 5-star rating, that would be absolutely incredible. And finally, I personally read each and every one of your reviews. So if you take a minute and say some nice things about the podcast, well, that's just good karma. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you right back here next week when the School of Midlife is back in session. Until then, take good care.